to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Monday, February or March 13th, 2022, and welcome to the show, a day in which my spirits have been lifted up tremendously. Yesterday we had some fantastic fucking news. I mean, if you don't already know, starts with this guy right here. Good old Tom fucking Brady decided to unretire after 40 days. You guys actually thought he was done playing football. We'll dive into that a little bit later, but it was an awesome moment that I got to have yesterday. A moment in which was captured via camera. Picture will be coming soon. The picture was taken by Y4, by John, my one of my best friends, and probably my best friend actually, the number one. Yeah, he's back, baby. He's back. I'm pumped about it. I'm happy about it. That means the NFL is only going to be that much more sweeter to watch next year, and I can guarantee you, I will be going, to Tampa to see this guy play in person. Not gonna take that for granted at all, because obviously after this year he could be done, and who knows what's next for his future. Other than that glorious news, obviously the legal tampering period actually started today. Now basically what that means is that teams have a chance to dive into free agency and make a bunch of signings, whether that's a safety or a corner or any piece of the puzzle that your team may need to potentially make a playoff run in the upcoming season. A lot of shit has been popping off today, okay? A lot of signings throughout the NFL. Major moves being made by the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're looking to turn around their franchise, their organization, which hasn't been that great in years past, obviously. But there's multiple moves that have been made. The Vikings made a move in which I get it. Now, do I like it? That's another story. We'll dive into that as well later. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to talk about, because today, I think about 20 plus signings have happened, maybe more. I could be wrong, but there's a lot of shit popping off in the NFL. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, obviously, yesterday I'm out in the nature park or whatever, taking a bunch of pictures, okay, a little bit of promotional things for myself. Having a great old time. We stopped for a minute. I just glanced at my phone, and it said, Brady's back. Let's fucking go, baby. I'm so pumped and hyped about this. Can't be more excited than I already am. It was a sad day 40 days ago when he announced his retirement. I knew it was definitely in the realm of possibility that he would decide to hang it up, being that he is 44 years old, going to be 45 when this year starts, or when the season starts, which would make him the highest or the oldest NFL player to ever start in a game in NFL history. So that is electrifying. But I knew that the day was upon us. It was a sad day. Got a little emotional, like I should. Okay, being that, I idolized this guy growing up and still do to this day. Wore his number throughout every single sport in which I could. And it only took him 40 days of retirement to realize that, hey, I am not fucking done doing what I need to do on that football field. He went to a game, I believe it was Manchester United and whoever else they were fucking playing. He was in the stands like a normal human being, like a normal person. he realized after watching Cristiano Ronaldo, however you want to say his name, Ronaldo score 3 fucking goals at age 37, looking like how he has always looked, just in pristine shape. Brady said, I ain't quite done yet. I have more to prove. Especially after the game, Ronaldo says, "You're done, right?" And Brady says, "We'll see about that." Because when I was sitting up there, it was bugging me. It was bugging me quite a bit. And it only took 40 days for him to say, "Fuck it, I'm coming back. I'm too bored at home. Can't do any of this nonsense." Tom Brady, via his Twitter, says, "Listen, these past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates, and I love my supportive family, who probably made him or persuaded him to retire a little bit early, which is okay. But ultimately, Brady made the right choice." He goes on to say, "They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business. Let's fucking go." After seeing that, after seeing all these news, I was hyped up, ready to rock and roll, punch in the air. I am excited. And I'm going to Tampa to watch him. Guaranteed, signed, dotted, and sent in. That is actually going to happen regardless of any situation. I'm going to Tampa. And after Tom Brady decides, I'm coming out of retirement, I'm going to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for one more glorious season, one more chance to chase a Lombardi, one more chance to be around some awesome teammates, one more chance to potentially win an MVP, not a Pro Bowl if he goes to the Super Bowl. But their Super Bowl odds in which he was retired were 20-1. And now their Super Bowl odds dropped down to 10-1. And also after signing, or I guess not signing, coming out of retirement and redoing his contract, the 1 year he had left on his deal originally, in which I thought, hey, why the fuck wouldn't you just finish this out in Tampa? You got 1 more year. What's it going to do? Okay, if you go out there, you get hurt and stuff, yeah, hang it up. If you go out there, you don't win a Super Bowl, hang it up. Got 1 more year. He calls his center, Ryan Jensen, who was a free agent, and said, "Hey, buddy, I'm coming back. You should probably come back with me so that we have a chance to run it back again." Ryan Jensen ends up signing a contract extension worth 3 years, worth $39 million. And with that signing, you have to assume, or you have to guess, that Rob Gronkowski's going to come back. They franchise tag Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is pretty fucking pumped, okay? LFG, which means let's fucking go on his Twitter. They also decide to sign cornerback looking at his name real quick. Forgot his name for some odd reason. They also decided to re-sign their corner, Carlton Davis, to a 3-year, $45 million deal as well. How you doing? Keep it going. Let's run it back. Now what's up in the air for Leonard Fournette, who is a free agent? Does he come back to Tampa, try to run it back with them as well? Does Ronald Jones decide to do that? There's obviously other people in free agency that are going to decide, hey, Tampa's a great destination. Multiple receivers still in this free agency market right now is ridiculous. There's a lot of players that have still yet to be claimed, and I would hope that Tampa's going to land a couple of them. Look, they only retained 7 of their 22 starters after last season going into this offseason. But with Brady coming back, they're going to bring a whole new squad, and it's going to be a better squad to Tampa, and I cannot wait. Yes, I am a Vikings fan, so if it gets down to the nitty-gritty, if it gets to the NFC Championship and it's Vikes, I'm going to cheer for the Vikes. But wouldn't be opposed, okay, to Brady trying to go win his 8th fucking Super Bowl ring. So yesterday was a fucking awesome day, a glorious day. I thought it was over and done with. I was sad because I never got to witness this greatness in person, go to see what he actually is capable of doing on a day-to-day basis, a game-to-game basis. And now I officially get that chance. I will not take it for granted. I am, like I have noted a couple times already, I am going to Tampa whether you like it or not. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be glorious. I cannot wait. I'm pumped. Tom Brady, not retired quite yet, okay? Just don't hold the brakes on that one. Y'all thought, including myself. But there was always some stuff lingering, like on his Let's Go podcast. You know, there was some question that he was like, well, we'll see. We'll see if I want to come back or not. We'll see. Then he goes to fucking soccer, or a football game, American football game, whatever you want to call it. Soccer, in other words. Watches Cristiano Ronaldo do his thing and says, I'm coming back. Okay, LeBron James is fucking 40, almost 37 years old, and he's putting up 50-point games 2 times in one night. Yeah, Tom Brady can still do it, and he's going to run it back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lo and behold, that's why I got the jersey on. So today's also a nice day to kind of look at what your team might potentially look like. A lot of teams are starting to pick up players, starting to sign players, but take in mind, no deal is officially finalized until Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because right now it's called the legal tampering period, which basically means you can go out there, you sign free agents, you get the deal done. Okay, you're going to get 3 years, set amount of money, but we're not signing the contract till Wednesday when it's actually legal, when it can actually be finalized. And that also means, which the legal tampering period is, Wednesday's the final day to get all this done. The deals will be finalized, but Wednesday's also the day to make sure you're already under the cap space so that when it comes draft time, you have enough money to pay those players. Otherwise, your team could face some consequences. So basically, you get a whole week or a couple days of like, hey, you have an opportunity to go get said free agent, and you can do so, and you can say you're going to pay him a lot of money, but you can't finalize that deal until Wednesday once the tampering period or the legal tampering period is over. So, with that being said, lots of moves around the NFL. The Arizona Cardinals decide to re-sign tight end Zach Ertz to a 3-year, $31.65 million deal. This is a good one for them to make, but now that you have to wonder, what does that potentially mean for Max Williams, ex-Gopher? Shout out Minnesota. But you gotta kind of think, where is he going to end up? Because I believe he is a free agent as well, but they think, or the Arizona Cardinals think, that Zach Ertz is their guy, and their answer at tight end, which I would assume is probably the better choice of the two, because Zach Ertz, we all know what he's been able to do and what he has done in Philadelphia in the past. He went out and won a Super Bowl with them. Now he comes over to Arizona midway through the season or late in this season and kind of starts to pop off a little bit. So Arizona re-signs him to a 3-year, $31 million or $31.6 million deal. So congratulations to him on getting fucking big bag right there for Zach Ertz. Other than that, I guess the Cardinals also went out, re-signed running back James Conner to another 3-year deal worth $21 million. He gets about 13.5 of that guaranteed. I kind of seen this coming just because he was a touchdown freak last year. I think he had 13 at like week 14 or week 13 at one point. I mean, this guy was phenomenal to watch. He's a great running back when he gets hot. Now, does that mean he's not going to go out there and just kind of lay an egg? We don't know, but the Arizona Cardinals think, hey, this guy, he's a dog. Okay, we want to keep him around as long as possible. Other than that, they don't have other running backs. Both their running backs, Chase Edmonds, James Conner, were set to be free agents. They signed James Conner. They let Chase Edmonds walk out the building. He is now currently going over to Miami on a 2-year deal worth $12.6 million. He gets about half of that, or $6.1 million of that guaranteed. So good luck and to Chase. I know Miami's one of those organizations that I've noted in the past that, hey, they need a fucking running back. Myles Gaskin just isn't cutting it anymore. And this team could do some good. Okay, they could go make a playoff run. They could go make a potential Super run. But, I mean, they are in a tough division with the New England Patriots, who just started getting hot after having a 7-9 season. They make the playoffs with Mac Jones. And then you also got the Buffalo Bills. You got to worry about Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and the boys over there. The Jets, they're the Jets. Okay, I mean, can't really worry about that one too much because they're not that great. But, Arizona's making some moves. They're clearing some cap space. They're trying to build their team to make a run. Obviously, Chandler Jones is out of the building. He's still currently a free agent. We're waiting on him to pick a team and get signed by a team, and then have that deal finalized Wednesday. So Arizona's every team's gonna be making moves, but Arizona's making a big move right there. The Minnesota Vikings. Gave Kirk Cousins a contract extension that is a 1-year deal worth $35 million, all of it guaranteed, like usual, like the past 2-3 contracts that he signed. I get it. Do I like it? Not necessarily. We can win with Kirk. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't think we can win a Super Bowl with him. Prime time, when it comes down to having clutch moments, he's never clutch. He's just too risky. Takes too many chances. And don't get me wrong, taking chances is a good thing. But it's also a very bad thing when you take way too many of them. You can take a good amount of chances. Case Keenum did that. Fucking won us the NFC divisional round, sent us the NFC championship round, where we just got fucking dogged on, by the Philadelphia Eagles, who went on to win that Super Bowl. But I think when it comes down to having to make something happen, Kirk gets all frazzled up in the brain right there, and he makes poor decisions. Whether that's interceptions, whether that's taking sacks, not throwing the fucking ball out of bounds like you should. I get why we did this. Currently $13 million over the cap space with doing so, with re-signing him, restructuring his contract, extending him. The Vikings save almost about $14 million in cap space. So that's huge, especially since we have the 12th overall pick in the first round this year, who many people, including myself, believe we're going to go take a corner. Okay, Ahmad Sauce Gardner could be one of them. Derek Stingley Jr. is another one. There's obviously more names that are more than capable of being a 12th overall pick. So I like this deal. I understand this deal. But being a Minnesota fan, being a Minnesota Viking fan for my 24 years of existence, we need a goddamn Super Bowl, and we need it now. Okay? Every team, you see teams go all in, and they find a way to win that Super Bowl that season. The Los Angeles Rams did that this past season. They go out, they get Von Miller. Odell Beckham Jr., yes, they do lose Robert Woods to a torn ACL, but then they get Matthew fucking Stafford. This team said, hey, we want a Lombardi, and we want it now. Why doesn't the Minnesota Vikings do that? I also understand that there's multiple teams around the NFL that are the same way. But what are you going to do? Just going to sit back and watch it play out. Hopefully, we get some success out of it. Hopefully, we can make a goddamn playoff this year. Okay, make a playoff run this year. Don't necessarily, I care about a Super Bowl run, but I want to make the playoffs. Okay, back-to-back seasons of not making the playoffs. That's just ridiculous. We got to figure it out. So we'll let time kind of tell us whether or not this was a good deal, good signing. We could have traded him away, could have got him out of town. Okay, we could have went and been in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, in which there was some speculation that Minnesota was a team that Deshaun was interested in possibly joining. Which, why not? Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, fucking Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith Jr. This offense, would have been something special. But we got Kirk Cousins, and we got to live with it. We got to know that whatever happens, can't change it. I do also like this for the fact that Kevin O'Connell, our new head coach who we just signed from the Los Angeles Rams, who was their offensive coordinator, worked with Kirk Cousins while he was in Washington. He was Kirk Cousins' quarterback coach over there, so they had a lot of one-on-one time of critiquing his game, of really dialing it down and looking at the offense and saying, what should we do better? What should we change? What should we keep? What do you like? What don't you like? And that's a huge part of our team and a huge part of the signing of Kirk Cousins. Apparently, it was a major conversation when hiring Kevin O'Connell. They always brought up Kirk Cousins. What do you like about Kirk Cousins? What do you want to do with him? Do you want to get rid of him? Do you want to keep him? And that was a major part of bringing Kevin O'Connell. And Kevin O'Connell said, I worked with him. He's a very good guy. He's a very good quarterback. We can tune up some things, obviously, but I think he's the guy for this organization. He's the guy I want to roll with going forward. So that's ultimately why, other than trying to save some cap space, why we signed Kirk Cousins to a 1-year contract extension. So, like I said, in due time we'll know whether or not this was actually a pretty good move. But production's got to be there first off. The Packers, obviously they get Aaron Rodgers to come back to Green Bay when there was a lot of speculation that he might retire or he might demand a trade, go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, go to the Tennessee Titans, go to basically anywhere else other than the Green Bay Packers. He ends up re-signing. Don't know the details of his contract yet. The 4-year, $200 million that was shown to everybody basically around the whole United States. That's false, okay? It's not right at all. The numbers have not been shown. There has been a couple numbers, though, because the Packers are trying to get under the cap space. Okay, they were $41 million over the cap space, I think, just last week. So they had to make multiple moves, especially when Wednesday is the deadline to be under the cap. Well, they have to make multiple moves to do so, so they decide, okay, Rodgers is returning. Bam, we'll tag Davante Adams. Davante Adams comes out and says, okay, hey, listen, that's cool and all, but yeah, I ain't playing under the fucking franchise tag. You're going to find a way to sign me, otherwise I'm out, basically, is what he's trying to say. I think, otherwise he's just going to sit out and kind of do that whole spiel, which I believe happened a couple of years ago. Can't remember quite who the player was, but I know Le'Veon Bell pulled that move, but that's running back. Same with Melvin Gordon. That's a whole different position, whole different atmosphere, because running backs are easily replaceable. I mean, you can just pluck them anywhere you want and then put them back in your system, and usually 7 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times, they're going to be just fine. So Davante Adams says, nope, I ain't doing it. I ain't playing on the franchise tag, making $20.1 million. Just ain't doing it. Okay, you see all these other wide receivers getting signed? Yeah, they are damn near making as much money as me or more. So make me the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Otherwise, I ain't playing. And he has every right to do so because he is the number 1 receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. You guys can say D-Hop, you can say Julio Jones and all these other nonsense names, but pure receiver. Route running ability, his speed, literally everything about him. His catching ability, his ability to go up and get the ball at the highest point. Davante Adams of the Green Bay Packers is the best receiver in the NFL by a long shot, folks. By a long shot. Teams have to double team him with a spy. I mean, it's crazy what teams have to or try to do to stop his production, and usually it doesn't work, especially when you have a back-to-back MVP as your quarterback, Aaron fucking Rodgers. And I'd assume that Aaron Rodgers, after hearing Davante Adams says, I ain't playing on the tag, give me a contract extension, I assume Aaron probably called him and said, hey, let's work it out. Let's get you that deal, okay? Because if you're not playing, I don't know if I want to play, basically, but I don't know if that's true. But I'm assuming Rodgers probably talked to him, said, hey, love to have you here in Green Bay. You've been my dude since day one. You're the best receiver in the NFL. We'll find a way to bring you in here and sign you. But after doing so, the Packers are making a lot of interesting moves, signing a bunch of other players, which I understand because you want to sign other players. You want to sign players that you think are crucial to your cap space now and are crucial to your team's success. Davante should be one of them, but I think the Green Bay Packers thought, oh, well, we have certain steps that we're going to follow in order to meet the cap space criteria, be under the cap space. And so they thought, okay, after taking Davante Adams, we'll go ahead and we'll do these next few couple steps here within the next couple days. And one of those being that the Packers extend Preston Smith, who's their pass rusher, to a 4-year, $52.5 million contract. So congratulations to him. And in doing so, they also released linebacker Zadarius Smith. We all kind of seen this one coming. He wanted too much mojo. He didn't get it. Okay. Preston Smith, I would have any day of the week over Zadarius. But at the same time, you don't know because we didn't get to see much of Zadarius this whole past season. He was hurt the majority of that time. But, I mean, you got to think what's going on there. Also, with releasing Zadarius Smith, so they kept pass rusher Preston Smith, who is like an edge rusher, but he's more like a linebacker, like a TJ Watt type, a little bit bigger. So, in doing so, they end up re-signing a massive candidate in which John or Y Forward said, we need to keep this guy on our team, on our organization. The Packers decide to re-sign linebacker Devondre Campbell to a 5-year, $50 million contract. So $10 million a year for him. Preston Smith gets, well, he gets about $13 to $14 million a year. So these guys are getting paid, and they should, because Green Bay has had massive success the past 5 years. I mean, back-to-back NFC Championship games. Should have went to a third one until Robbie Gould decides to kick a game fucking winner over there in Lambeau. So Green Bay's in a good spot. They know what they're doing. They'll get under the cap space. They'll figure out a way to sign Davante Adams. And if they don't, expect Davante Adams to kind of, well, more than likely not be a Green Bay Packer, if I had to guess. If I had to, I mean, there's plenty of wide receivers out there that need to be signed, okay? Allen Robinson II is one of them. So keep that on your radar. There's been reports saying that Green Bay would be a preferred destination for him. Not sure how that would look on the Bears, being that he was kind of held hostage by the Bears last year because he wanted out. He wanted a new contract. They said, no, not going to happen. And so he might go back to Green Bay or go over to Green Bay to kind of give him a big old, give him the bird. And that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But the Packers have been making some moves, and obviously they had to, because over $41 million over the cap space is too much. So you got to bring that down, especially when the deadline is Wednesday. So we also all kind of heard the news that the Cleveland Browns decide wide receiver Amari Cooper. That was big news. But then there was other news. As soon as they signed Amari Cooper, Jarvis Landry said, hey, this ain't really cutting it. I don't really like playing here. I kind of want out. I kind of want to have my own say in my future. So the Browns like, fine, cool, all right. We'll give you a chance to go seek a trade. If you find a pretty like a good trade partner, a nice suitor, we'll work things out. We'll try to send you that way. We'll try to send you over to wherever the hell you want to go. He said, cool, sounds good. And he was trying to do some things, couldn't get it done. Ultimately, he ends up getting released by the Cleveland Browns. It was going to happen if he wasn't going to get a trade anyways. Okay, he didn't want to play with the Cleveland Browns no more, especially after bringing Amari Cooper over. I think now that the Browns have a legit number one guy, who Jarvis was their legit number one guy. Now it's Amari Cooper. Jarvis said, nope, no more. So now Jarvis is released. He's a very, very good suitor for multiple teams now. Green Bay Packers, like we just got done talking about, if Davante Adams somehow does not end up being a Packer next season, Jarvis Landry is another option that they could go out and kind of seek. Hey, we should get this guy. He's reliable. He's shown what he can do. He's a veteran in this league. He knows how to win. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see what wide receivers go where. I mean, we got 2 more days of this, and I can't wait. I mean, it is ridiculous the amount of free agents that are still left. I mean, Bobby Wagner's still out there, Chandler Jones. I mean, multiple people still need to be signed by Wednesday, and I'd expect that to happen. The Steelers were one of the teams that were, in the quarterback carousel, in which they were one of the teams that needed a quarterback, needed to figure out what the hell they were going to do because Big Ben decided to retire after last season. The Steelers weren't the only ones. Obviously, the Saints need a quarterback. The Colts need a quarterback after sending Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. Commander Carson. There's other teams as well. But the big question was, who are the Steelers going to bring in? Now, the whole speculation was, let's go get Deshaun Watson. He would right away, he would change our organization's future. He would make us so much better. He would automatically make our Super Bowl odds that much better. He'd make our team better. Let's go get him. There was also other, reports. Jameis Winston would be a good fit there. We could trade for Carson Wentz. That would be interesting. He did not end up doing so. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have officially come out of the quarterback carousel with their signing today of Mitchell Trubisky. Yep, that is right, folks. A former number 2 overall pick out of North Carolina. He's going to Pittsburgh. And I don't know how to feel about it. I'm sure a lot of people don't know how to feel about it. They had multiple candidates that they could have chose from. Okay, Jimmy G, Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, because he was proven not guilty on any of the criminal allegations that he was facing. Civil ones still have to get sorted out. And they decide to roll with Mitchell Trubisky. Potentially the better quarterback in Chicago before he was let go and released. Probably a soured relationship between him and Matt Nagy, and Matt Nagy just wasn't that great of a coach. Okay, I think we can admit that at this point. But Mitchell's now on his way to go be the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback under head coach Mike Tomlin. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, because Juju Smith-Schuster, he's a free agent. Chase Claypool is still on his rookie contract. What wide receiver do they attract now that they have Mitchell Trubisky as their quarterback? Probably not too many. Maybe Allen Robinson is a good fit because he did play with Mitchell a couple years ago in Chicago, so that would be a good fit. Jarvis Landry's also on the market. There's multiple ones that the Pittsburgh Steelers could go out and make a pick for. He ends up signing a 2-year deal there. So obviously, okay, Pittsburgh's not 100% sold on the fact that he can be a franchise quarterback, be the guy that ultimately takes over that franchise for quite some time. Okay, they're like, all right, let's just see what he has in store. If it's nothing special, there's plenty of opportunities to kick him out the door. And I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't want to roll with Mason Rudolph, didn't want to roll with Dwayne Haskins, and hey, I can't blame him because neither would I. Okay, I'd rather roll with Mitch any day of the week over those two goofballs. Sorry about it. Okay? But the Steelers signed quarterback. They're out of the carousel. Now we got to see what the hell do the Colts do the Saints do? The Buccaneers don't have to do anything anymore because my boy Brady is back in town. Okay, Miami's still rolling with Tua Tagovailoa, so that'll be awesome to see. The Raiders are still rolling with Derek Carr, so there's obviously other moves that are going to be made. But the Steelers come out of that carousel. The Seahawks are also doing some interesting things, right? So first off, they decided, hey, we're not going to rebuild. We're going to keep everybody in-house, try to build around what we have here. Then they send Russell fucking Wilson to Denver. Immediately after that, 6 hours or so after they decided to do so, they said, all right, Bobby, how's it going? All right, get the fuck out the door. You're done. They cut Bobby Wagner. Now he's a free agent. It'll be awesome to see where he goes. I think he immediately goes to a team that can win a Super Bowl here and now, not 10 years from now, not 5 years from now, right now. So that'd be awesome to see where he ends up. But Seattle's kind of, they're saving some cap space, obviously, but making some interesting moves. They obviously still have Jamal Adams as one of their safeties, and they ended up signing or extending their other safety, Quandre Diggs, to a 3-year, $40 million deal, and I'm all for it. Okay, they locked up. Now they have two safeties completely locked up. Now they can go and figure out their corner situation. Now their linebacker situation, who has a massive hole in it when you take Bobby Wagner out of the equation. Their defensive line still needs some work. They need edge rushers massively. It does not look pretty over there. Offensively, they got Drew Lock. So good luck. Wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, their offensive line looks just fine. Their tight ends now are Noah Fant, in which we kind of thought, or at least I thought, that he was going to be the legitimate starter for the Seattle Seahawks going forward in the next season. That might not be the case because the Seattle Seahawks decided to re-sign tight end Will Dissly to a 3-year, $24 million contract. Don't know how to feel about it, but maybe they're going to run a 2 tight end kind of scheme, and I think that would be perfect, especially to protect Drew Lock just a little bit more, give him more time in the pocket so that he can make a better decision of where to put the ball and how to do so. So I'm excited to see what Seattle kind of has in store for us, because obviously they have to deal with the Los Angeles Rams, the Arizona Cardinals, and the San Francisco 49ers, who are all capable of being a top 15 team, top 10 team in the NFL. It's just time will tell. But the Seattle Seahawks, they've been making some moves. Okay, they got their tight ends. They released Bobby Wagner. They traded away Russell Wilson. Their organization just kind of looks a little bland right now. Okay, the 12th man needs to figure out how to come back, and I'm sure they'll figure a way out to do so. So another team that's kind of making a lot of moves. Actually, really, I mean, they're making some really nice headway right now, and it's gonna be really interesting to see just how much more improved they are from this past season. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who just got a new head coach and Doug Peterson after the whole Urban Meyer ordeal didn't quite work out, okay, the old chop house situation. Doug Peterson comes in and says, hey, Shad, I like what we got here, okay? I like what we got here, but it's my team now. Okay, we're going to figure out some things in free agency, and we're going to turn this whole organization around. They've been making a lot of moves as of recent. The Jaguars, first they go out, they sign wide receiver Christian Kirk, who played for the Arizona Cardinals for the past couple seasons, to a 4-year deal worth up to $84 million, and about 72 of that is going to be, so that's up to $84 million, $72 million contract, plain and simple. So with the incentives and all that other stuff, he can potentially make $84 million with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bam, Trevor Lawrence has a massive weapon. DJ Chark is a free agent, so who knows where he lands. Probably New England if I had to guess. But Christian Kirk goes over. And right then and there, that contract alone tells Davante Adams that, you want to give a top 30 wide receiver in the NFL $72 million over the course of 4 years, but you're sitting back here and you're saying, we have to franchise tag you because we just don't got the funds, man. Okay, we just don't have the funds to quite do so. So you're only going to get $20.1 million because the franchise tag says you make the veteran minimum at that position or 120% of your last contract. So that deal right then and there kind of is to Davante Adams, and I think he felt it, and I think he's a little upset about it, but only time will tell. Jaguars also signed Brandon Sheriff, offensive guard that was once playing for the Washington football team, now the Washington Commanders. He comes over to Jacksonville. They boost that lineup. They also signed multiple offensive linemen. I think they signed a defensive player. But in other news, they also decided to go make a pretty decent move because there was one position that they just didn't quite know what to do with. Tight end, right? Last year they had the whole experience with Tim Tebow. Didn't work out because he was bad. So this year, they decided to go look at other options. Not many of them, other than the rookie draft class that was coming or is coming in to this year. They go sign former Giants tight end Evan Ingram to a 1-year, fully guaranteed $9 million deal that could go to $10 million with incentives. And I'm all for it, man. I am all for it. So the Jacksonville Jaguars have made massive amounts of moves so far. This is at Field Yates on Twitter. He says the Jacksonville Jaguars spending spree today, in quotes, so far. Wide receiver Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million, $84 million is his max. linebacker Foye Aluakwan, something like that, 3 years, $45 million. Nose tackle Foley Fadukasi, 3 years, $30 million. And guard Brandon Schreff, to be decided, but definitely a ton of money. And then last but not least, tight end Evan Ingram, 1 year, $10 million max. The Jacksonville Jaguars are ready to roll and make a playoff push next season. Now that's kind of a far-fetched idea, but it definitely could happen, especially with the new regime there, a new culture shift, a new culture change. This organization's all in, and I can't wait to see what they look like this upcoming season, because we all know that they are not good historically. Okay, just not good historically. But Trevor Lawrence shows a lot of promise there, and all these signings, I think, show that the Jacksonville Jaguars are serious about potentially putting up a fight to win a Lombardi. So good for the Jacksonville Jaguars, good for that new regime, good for that franchise. I cannot wait for it. In other news, Derwin James put some eye emojis out on Twitter. He said, oh, look out, something big's about to happen. Something real big's about to happen. You guys got to keep your eyes open. Well, the Los Angeles Chargers decide to sign a free agent, former New England Patriot, J.C. Jackson. This is a massive, massive deal. This man had 8 interceptions last season and only has continuously gotten better. We would dive through it when we were talking about him wanting or not wanting the franchise tag, and Bill Belichick said, I ain't paying you. Get the fuck out of town. So he goes over to the Los Angeles Chargers, in which Derwin James and J.C. Jackson actually played on the same high school team. So longtime buddies, longtime friends are on the same field together. His contract is 5 years, $82.5 million deal, $25 million signing bonus with $40 million fully guaranteed in the first 2 years. Trigger for the last 3 years, a $2 million roster bonus due on the third day of each league year, 2024 through 2026. So this is a massive, massive deal that got done. The Chargers, now we say this every year, at least I do, hey, they look like a really good team. They can go make a run. I mean, they have all the pieces. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson. I mean, the list kind of goes on. Joey Bosa. I mean, they have some dogs over there in Los Angeles. This should be a team that should always be putting up a fight for a Lombardi at all times. And I think now they have one of the best opportunities to do so, pending injuries and who stays healthy and who doesn't. So massive deal out of the Los Angeles Chargers organization. More will be on its way, I'd assume. And last but not least, well, actually, not last, the Philadelphia Eagles are bringing home Hassan Reddick, who played at Temple and went to high school in Philadelphia, played for the Cardinals, to a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. So he just got a massive bag. Congratulations to him on getting that done. Pretty solid guy, okay? Pretty solid linebacker for the Arizona Cardinals. So he goes over, and I think he immediately makes the Philadelphia defense that much better. So it'll be fun to see what they kind of look like, even though, you know, they made some noise last year. They made the playoffs. Jalen Hurts and the boys over there. Woo! It's looking nice, okay? Nick Sirianni, first-year head coach, now going into his second season, looking to make some moves, making this roster that much better. I mean, he's having fucking players shoot some basketball hoops in the draft or at the scouting combine to see, well, what is this guy all about, okay? So Philly's making some moves. Vikings made a move. Tampa, they're going to have to start making some moves. Green Bay's made a lot. Every team is making moves as we speak. Only more to come. Massive amounts of money to be handed out within the next 2 days. But lastly, the Colts, after obviously seeing that Tom Brady signed, they're not going to get a good quarterback, even though there's still Jimmy G. Gardner Minshew has been linked to them. But there was one position that they thought they could do better at, okay, or improve at. And that's a tight end. They thought, hey, I seen Rob Gronkowski was a potential possibility for the Colts. And after Tom decided to return, I guarantee you Rob's going back to Tampa Bay. So with doing so, the Colts said, "All right, well, we gotta go and bring back our tight end." So they bring back tight end Mo Alley Cox to a 3-year deal worth $18 million. And that is just one of the many ka-ching that is going to be happening within the next couple days. Now that is all I have for you guys today. Bunch of signing, more to come, massive amounts of money to be handed out. I can only wait and be excited to see who is going where and when that deal gets done. I cannot wait. Bobby Wagner is still one of them. Massive amounts around the NFL, or massive amount of players still need to get signed. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a busy time. I am pumped for it. But that is, like I said, all I have for you guys today. Have a great rest of your evening. Continue to look at the Twitter, at the Instagram to see what other moves are potentially being made right in front of our very eyes, because it's going to be a circus, folks. So we'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, to dive into the signings or the releases of these NFL players. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. And you just got your fix with potentially the happiest man in the world, the Wicks, even though this is Brady. Okay, Wicks is right here. Pieces, folks. Oh, and by the way, Brady's back, baby! Woo!